Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Pioneer at the request of Patreon subscriber Varus22. And this is a reimagining of one of Varus's favorite decks of all time, which is Jerry Thompson's Mardu Pyromancer deck. That's this deck right here. Jerry Thompson played this to a second place finish at Pro Tour Rivals of Ixalan in 2018, which was a modern tournament. This is a tokens control deck. It has a ton of removal and a ton of card selection, and the goal is to eventually overwhelm your opponent with tokens. The key engines in the deck are Young Pyromancer, which is where the deck gets its name, Faithless Looting, which can crank through your deck, and discard cards like Lingering Souls, all in service of playing the card Bedlam Reveler and reloading at the top end. You get a bunch of 1-for-1s, you shred through your deck, you play a 3-4 Prowess Ancestral Recall, and then you're ahead. Varus wanted me to reimagine this for Pioneer, and this is where I landed. Some important things about converting the original idea into this deck. Bedlam Reveler, still here. We're allowed to play this one. Faithless Looting and Lingering Souls unfortunately came out a couple years before the Pioneer cutoff. They are not available. We have to simulate those in other ways. Young Pyromancer is legal, however it stinks. So Young Pyromancer is now Cori-steel Cutter. Faithless Looting is now Highway Robbery, Fable of the Mirror Breaker, and Fear of Missing Out. Lingering Souls is now Kroxa, Titan of Death's Hunger. And the challenge here is I didn't want to just make Rakdos midrange, which is an existing Pioneer deck, worse. I did want this to be a deck with its own kind of identity, and giving it Fiery Temper and Burst Lightning. These are 1-ish mana burn spells, hopefully 1 mana on Fiery Temper, but if these games get grindy, and they likely will, 3 mana is fine. Using these 1 mana burn spells, hopefully that can get us triggering Cori-steel Cutter. Fiery Temper is like Lingering Souls in the way that if we loot it away to any of these looting effects, we do get to keep the card or use the card. So our loot aways can be card positive and not card neutral or card negative. These are spells that fuel Bedlam Reveler. Bedlam Reveler cares about instants and sorceries specifically, not non-creature spells. But we do need a critical mass of those. Cori-steel Cutter doesn't care what kind of spell it is. You just need to cast 2 of them in a turn. This was a really fun exercise in figuring out. I mean, we basically moneyballed it. We don't have Faithless Looting and Lingering Souls. How do we create them in the aggregate? And Kroxa plus Fiery Temper, and then a bunch of other discard spells that are less efficient, but just perfectly fine as cards to create Faithless Looting. Hopefully this holds its own. This video also comes out with a shout out from Varus for trans rights, a posture that this channel also supports. Everyone, thanks for watching. Let's do it. This is Rakdos Pyromancer reimagined for Pioneer in 2026. I am on the draw in round 1. I'm going to keep my hand. I've got Thoughtseize, then I can set up Highway Robbery, and then turn 3 I'm guaranteed Cori-steel Cutter plus trigger. Looks like we are against an Izzet deck. The Izzet Prowess deck is one of the top decks in this format, and Soulscar Mage is indicative of that's what we're up against. How pain-free can I play? If I play Takenuma, that's not a swamp for Blazemire Verge or Blood Crypt. Or Blood Crypt would cost me mana. Jesus. Would cost me life against a deck where my life matters, but it does turn on Blazemire Verge. Blazemire Verge is black at base. Okay, so playing Blazemire Verge into swamp gets me everything and saves me life. Okay, there we go. Thoughtseize this 4-card hand. Hope to take something good. Stormchaser's Talent, Surveil, and Emberheart Challenger. I think I want the creature gone. I mean, Stormchaser's Talent is also a creature, and they wouldn't be able to double spell, but they are adding to the board faster this way. Yeah, I'm going to take the Challenger, and I'll pass the turn. A thing that I forgot to mention in the deck tech is that Varus specifically asked for the deck not to contain any Universes Beyond cards because they don't like them. And while that is a perfectly fine opinion to have in real life, I do want to point out that Spider-Man featured an entire cycle, an entire mechanic called Mayhem, which is in the Rakdos colors. It's kind of fixed madness, air quotes, and there's a bunch of enablers in it. that I would have considered many of those cards for this deck if I were allowed to play them. So if you're out there working on, if you're inspired by this and want to do some work, there you go. That's an option. A little more space to explore if you don't have Universes Beyond aversion. Uh-oh. Firebrain Scheme. Exile top 2 cards. You could play 1 until your next turn. Swift Spear. Yeah, this is a lot of damage. Being on the draw here is rough. Also, not having any removal is rough. It's going to be hard to catch up with, but I'm going to try. Hopefully we draw. So my best draw right here is Fiery Temper. Call it out. All right, it's just a swamp. Okay. I'm going to go basic swamp, cori-steel cutter, highway robbery, trigger cutter. I would like to equip the monk. I'm going to discard Castle Lochthwain, or it's probably Blood Crypt. Yeah, I'm going to discard Blood Crypt. I'm not activating Lochthwain this game, but it does come into play untapped. And none of those are the 1 mana removal I was looking for. Yeah, that was the moment that we hope to turn around a little bit against my opponent's 1-card hand that we know is a land, but they got it going. I don't have a Fatal Push to save that creature from damage, and at this point I'm basically dead. Shivan Reef and Blood Crypt. Okay, super dead. I'll board in some sweepers, and now I know what I'm up against. All right, Abrade. Ritual of Soot kills everything. Day of Black Sun kills everything. I don't think I'm in the duress market. I don't think I'm in the go blank market. Damping Sphere could make it hard for them to cast multiple spells in a turn, but that's also kind of what I'm doing. I'm saving this for combo decks, so that's a real problem. Yeah, I might not want to Thoughtseize this deck at all. I can answer their stuff on the board for the most part, where it doesn't cost me 2 life to do it. Bedlam Reveler is slow. I think having 3 of them in the deck is enough. I'll find them when I need them. And Liliana is removal. Extinction Event is removal. Is there anything I would like to cut in favor of those? I don't think so. Okay. 5 clunky spells out, 5 removal spells in. Okay, I will board out Bedlam Reveler, still have them all. I'm going to keep. I like the Fatal Push, I like the Cutter. I'm not going to take damage if they curve out here with a haste creature. That's an extra damage I'm going to take, but I would have taken 2 to put that in. And I'm probably not spending all my mana this turn anyway. Come on, deck. Oh no. Well, I've drawn every copy that's in my deck of the worst card in my deck, at least for this matchup. Maybe I'm supposed to board out 2 of those. Soulscar Mage. I'm going to go to blocks, no block, and see if they try to use a spell here. Okay, they didn't use a spell. If they've spell Pierce, they get to save their thing and continue to be alive. But anything else doesn't really matter. Like, Consider there doesn't change what's actually happening. Okay, the Fire Scheme. Probably, how does this work? Exile the top cards, choose one of them. Does it tell me what my opponent chose? Probably the Mountain, because Legend of Roku costs a lot. A land here would get me going with the Fable. Highway Robbery, no. Okay, I'm going to plot Highway Robbery and try to get cori-steel Cutter going. I think taking the turn off here to Cutter, develop a creature, Robbery, try to pull ahead is better than just trying to hit a land drop right now. Oh no, my opponent with the cori-steel Cutter as well. The opponent's deck a little better at cutting cori-steel than mine is, but mine should have better removal if we make it to that phase of the game. Okay, Blood Crypt does help. I would rather play Cutter here, discard Bedlam Reveler, hit a bunch of lands that don't hurt me, but also are pretty slow. Oh, another Cutter, showing me what's what over there. Academic Dispute. Target creature can't block. Oh no. Or target creature must block. Okay, that's the opposite of what I thought. It was going to block anyway. Got Firebending Lesson, so that will then kill my thing. That's just... Alright. Alright. They showed me how to do that for real. Yeah, I'm definitely a worse cori-steel Cutter deck. The Bedlam Revelers all showing up in the early hand was a tough beat there. A Day of Black Sun clears this last turn, and we have a game to play. I mean, this is the top deck, and Pioneer immediately showed what bringing a brew to a gunfight feels like. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in round 2. Unfortunate mulligan here. Just no lands to play the game. All right, here we're in. I'm going to keep this in bottom Bedlam Reveler. It's just the one that gums up the hand the most, and I play 4 of them. I can find one if I need it. Keep bottom Reveler. Opponent's also on 6. I appreciate the parity. I don't want a swamp. Let's go. Urborg. Okay. My mana's good. Thanks. Man, Thoughtseize gets to take my Fire Temper, and I don't get to deal the 3 to them. They'll probably take Fatal Push, but I don't know their life, I guess. Depends on whether they're trying to protect a creature or their face. Wow, taking Kroxa. That's where I want that one. It does stop me from making a turn 2 play, and if they have main deck Graveyard Hate, which is not uncommon in this format, that makes some sense. Okay, Urborg is a creature now. I'm going to push this Cub before it does anything. Bedlam Reveler. It Blazemire Verge. I can play Fire Temper anytime. If I just kill Urborg in their upkeep, it comes back tapped. That could slow them down for a turn. I think I am going to do that. Not really what I built the deck to do, but I'm kind of in the control role. Like I said, the original build of this is a control deck. We take these trades until something like Bedlam Reveler or Kroxa kicks in. Hell yeah, nice duress, got him. Okay, 1-2. This still costs $1 million. 8's a lot to clear. Blood Crypt tapped. Drawing Fatal Push after they duress me is pretty nice. That's a spell for Reveler. It's a material for Kroxa. Unholy Annex. That one's going to be hard to keep up with. Raucous Theater. Ooh. That card's really good. I'm going to leave that on top. Ouroborid. That one, it does die to Fatal Push, but I need to get Revolt first. Fable is in. Abrupt Decay. That's actually great. That lets me kill Ouroborid before combat. Battle at the Bridge, which is Fatal Push. I also have Fatal Push. We can both do this. If they had just waited until after combat to do all those same plays, that's way better for me. I can play Reveler here, which costs me my Go for the Throat. I'm 1 mana short of going for a Throat. I think I'd rather discard Go for the Throat, draw 3 fresh ones, than try to hold out for that. And now my job is to turn the corner, burn, attack for a bunch, escape Kroxa. That's a demon for Unholy Annex. So is this. They've got a 6/6, and they're starting to stabilize. It would cost me 1 Burst Lightning to finish off the demon. I'm just going to attack with Bedlam Reveler. A no block. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Can't quite kill my opponent here. So I will Thoughtseize them and then play Kroxa. Mutable Explorer. Okay. I don't care about that. Taking the Fatal Push clears the way for Kroxa. Exile things that are not spells first. And then I'm going to have to exile some spells also. They'll probably take the 3 to discard a land. Yep, Overgrown Tomb gone. And I'm taking 8 on board here. They could make it 9 if they're willing to throw away their Llanowar Elves. Mutavault token, pretty cool. Okay, the race is on. And they go to 10 here. Sokin's on. That is better as a land than it is as tokens, because this lets me Burst Lightning twice. 1 with Kicker. Ooh, pushing that stinks. Can I win? They're going to chump block with something here. That was such a good draw. I could just kill the demon, but then I'm going to die to the Mutavaults. Yeah, that was the turn where I needed to do something bigger than that. I could burst these two pre-combat, but then they can block with Mutavault, and they're not dead. I could kill the demon with my burst lightnings. I wish Bedlam Reveler had trample. This block is just so easy. I guess I'll let them make the block because there's nothing I can do otherwise. And they can attack for 2, 4, 5, drain me for 2. These burst lightnings have to kill the demon token, unfortunately. Activate Mutavault. Activate Mutavault. A third Mutavault. Those don't have haste. I'll take that. Cast with Kicker. 4 damage to demon token. 2 damage to demon token. I'm at 1. You're at 12. Castle Lochthwain does not help. All right. GG. That one was actually pretty tight, considering Unholy Annex was in play for like 6 turns. It came down to a top deck Fatal Push. I don't mind that. Okay, so they have creatures plus Unholy Annex to manage. Rakdos, not famously good at dealing with an enchantment. I think I want the Duress Liliana and Black Sun. I think I have to get under this deck, and that means the clunkiest cards, like my 3-drops and 8-drops, are less good. All right, I'm going to try it like this. Okay, I will keep. I would like to kill Llanowar Elves on curve, but they could also have Thoughtseize as their turn 1 play, so I'm not going to shock in Blood Crypt. A cori-steel Cutter can give Bedlam Reveler trample. That is something I was aware of when I was putting the deck together. As that last game, if Bedlam Reveler tramples, I have 3 as the base power, plus 1, that's 4, 2 prowess triggers, that's 6, plus the 6 damage from this, that's 12. I have 12 damage coming in versus their up to 4 points of toughness. But that is the experience of playing a brew in a pretty sleek, high power format, is that it's always going to feel like you are 1 mana or 1 piece of synergy away from winning, while the deck that's just slightly more efficient than you gets over the finish line. Yeah, off we go. Okay, just nothing with their opening mana. I like that. I'm going to invest cori-steel Cutter, as if I draw a land that's Kroxa plus Burst Lightning, if I draw a 1-drop like Thoughtseize or Duress, that's a double spell. Llanowar Elves right on time. Bummer. Okay, I could Kroxa them. Let's get that going. There's no better feeling than playing cori-steel Cutter and not triggering it for 2 turns. I even added lands to the deck from the original build that I was sent. There's a Mutavault, Mutable Explorer, sweet. This card is so sweet in this deck. Oy caramba. Well, there's really not even anything else to do except play out the second Cutter. I guess the other thing I could do is just play nothing and pass. And if I draw a land, I can go second Cutter, Burst Lightning something, and then trigger both Cutters. I think drawing a land is more likely than drawing a 1-drop if I'm trying to trigger these things, which I am. Badgermole Cub. Mutavault is now a creature all the time. This is sweet because it has a +1 counter on it. If they activate it, it becomes a 2/2 because the base power and toughness is 0 as a Earthbent thing, but the base power toughness is 2 as a Mutavault. All right, deck, please, a land to have a chance. Hey, we did it. Okay. Cori-steel Cutter. I'm going to shoot Badgermole Cub because that represents the most that's going on here. Cutter, and am I in the attacking position? I don't think so. The old defensive cori-steel Cutter. True young Pyromancer simulation going on here. A Fatal pushed one of them. That's why I didn't attack with 1. I think I could have attacked with 1, assuming they have nothing, but assuming they have anything, which is a safe assumption considering how slow their rollout has been here. Oh, am I about to get Ouroboros? Okay, just an attack. I'll trade with the Mutavault I can trade with. I'm at 8. Thoughtseize. Yeah, good luck. My hand is not good. Kolagon's Command is probably the card I like the most here. I mean, it's certainly what they take now that I just have 2 copies of Fable. They just can't take me off Fable, and I don't think this game is going to Bedlam Reveler. 3, 4, 5. They've got 5 damage in play. Okay. Play Fable. We've seen Abrupt Decay in their deck. Play Blood Crypt. I gotta do whatever I can to try to double spell next turn. Having a 2/2 does block the 2 1/1s, or one of the 2 1/1s. Go blank. Well, that's disappointing. There goes all my cards. It's going to be a lot harder to double spell this turn now. I would have to draw exactly the highway robbery. Interesting. Takanuma. I will discard that. Thoughtseize stinks. Man, go blank. I did, in fact, go blank. They got me with that one. I'm going to make a 4/4 and pass the turn. Duress. Okay. I wasn't going to use that. They are all in over there. And I have the biggest creature. Burst Lightning. We're kind of gaming here. I can give Reflection Haste. And then this can copy Goblin Shaman. Or it can kind of Splinter Twin out in their end step. Alright, pass. Or no, you need 2 reflections. Yeah, you need 2 reflections to Splinter Twin. It can't copy itself. Never mind. I got briefly excited, then quickly disappointed. Okay, end step, copy, Goblin Shaman. I'll at least make one of those for the turn, and I get to start doing something. Thoughtseize. This lets me double spell, but it does put me at 3. I think taking any double spell I can get is worth it here. I don't really need to trigger cori-steel's pre-combat. Yeah, I'm going to attack and see what kind of blocks they want to line up. I'll make 2 treasures. This Mutavault can activate in response to being activated, so killing it with Burst Lightning is actually really hard to do. Unless they block a 2/2 with it. Okay, that's a 3/3. I get some treasures. Okay, I have some options here. I could kick Burst Lightning on this Mutavault, trample over for 3, keep my Goblin Shaman. Or that would re-equip the cori-steel, but I don't have to do that. Yeah, this costs me a copy, but I think I'm okay with that. Alright. I am going to kick Burst Lightning on this Mutavault. Which one is this? I will move that one over. I will not move this one over. I want the trample. Mutavault comes back tapped. And they can attack me to 2 on this board and lose their whole board to do it. Ouroborod's a big problem. Blooming Marsh is the card we know about in their hand. Oh, that's bad. Does that kill me? It puts me to 1 if they want to go in here. Yeah, I mean, going in is a good idea. Shit. Who knew removal spells were so good? Alright, big rips. That's not it. Alright, at 1 life, I cannot stabilize. GG's. Yeah, maybe I got greedy on that Burst Lightning play. I'm not going to lie, I did completely forget that it would come back from Earthbend. This Badgermole Cub died 9 turns ago, and I forgot where that +1 counter came from, and I think I did not do the right math. Okay. That was a really tight, interesting game, though. The deck started to function a little bit there. On to the next one. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there. I'm on the draw for round 3. I'm going to keep, and I'm already determining that this deck probably wants 2 or 3 Bedlam Revelers. We either need to rebuild the deck to fully support shredding spells into the graveyard somehow, maybe some kind of self-mill, maybe significantly more of the highway robbery style effects, or just play fewer Bedlam Revelers so we're gummed up with them less often when we don't want them. Okay, so here I'm playing against some kind of blue deck. I just drew a second Thoughtseize. I was about to say maybe I'm going to slow down on Thoughtseize to try to clear the way for Fable. Okay, well, that's not what they're doing anyway. Enduring Curiosity and trips Brazen Borrower. Spells with Flash. Well, Enduring Curiosity's gotta go. And I can't take the Brazen Borrowers. I can Kolaghan's Command. Okay, Fatal Push and Kolaghan's Command are both pretty nice. If I push this thing, I'm just going to pass the turn. They'll probably flash out a Brazen Borrower in the end step. Moment of the Sea. Gross. That was a really good draw. Okay. Yeah, spells with flash. Okay, yeah, they're gonna get to double spell here no matter what. Can I turn off a triple spell? Okay. Target player discards and kill this jerk. This takes a Brazen Borrower and the Night Bonder away. Yeah, just adding to the board in response. That's one borrower down, then they discard another, then they get to reload. Okay. Under a lot of pressure, very cool deck we're playing against here. Island after going top-bottom with Omen. Untapped land would be great. That lets me play Fable, and then if they... Sick. I'm going to play Fable, and then if they petty theft my token, that turns on Fatal Push. I'm not going to play the Thoughtseize here, because if they flash out what they care about underneath it, that's just like not even good for me. That worked how we prescribed it, and Omen in response, that's fine. There's no days in this format. This is going to work. They went bottom. All right. The board is clear. There is still a Brazen Bee in exile. Draw a card, discard a card on Agna Kala. I'm going to loot away definitely a Bedlam Reveler. Do I think Thoughtseize is past its window here? I think I do. I'm going to go Thoughtseize Reveler away. That puts a spell in the graveyard. Restless Vents when it attacks gets to loot. I think I might just fire that up here. This costs 6 to activate. Okay. Wait, I need red mana to do this. I accept the damage. I think it's worth it. I'll need red mana in the future anyway. Fire this up. Attack. Discard Raucous Theater. Draw. Of course, Bedlam Reveler. Literally always. And I'll pass the turn. Alright, deck full of removal. Can we find some of it? I'm at 8. Played out the island. They're working towards that Hall of Storm Giants. Koligon's Command. A welcome addition. I think what I'm going to do is just pass, and then in their upkeep, go for a Koligon's Command. Or if they activate Agna in the end step, I'll go then. Okay, they're going to scry 2 now. Okay, I'm going in the upkeep. Target player discards, deal 2 to Brazen Borrower. Their deck is full of things with flash, so the discard might not hit. Okay, we got an Unable to Scream. We take a 2 for 1. What did you keep on top? Something that has not happened yet. Oh, baby. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spells in the graveyard. I can revel into the Bedlam here. Unfortunately, my red is not online, but I can give Bedlam Reveler haste. Alright, yeah, I accept. I can copy this and start doing the thing if they don't respond. Okay, I've done the thing. That Madness trigger is going to fail because I don't have a mountain, but now I do. Oh yeah, it's time to rip. I'm going nuts over here. Draw 3, discard. Or discard, then draw. Madness trigger works this time. Go upstairs on that one. Pew, 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 pew. And attack with my token. What is this? Wanshitong. Okay, so this will arrive as a 5/5. Yikes. Alright, well, got my ass. And 5/5 Wanshitong, pretty good. And it draws 2 cards. Nykthos. Oh, you're a Devotion deck too? This is awesome. I have to block here, or else I lose. Can we get something going with the cori-steels? Looks like no. Man, that Wanshitong was devastating. Right, cori-steel cutter. Cori-steel cutter. Which triggers the first one, which doesn't actually really help me much. And dead. Oh, man. That was a slugfest. That was actually sweet. Wanshitong. Okay. A Braid looks relevant here. Their deck appears to be mostly creatures. I don't know that I want to be duressing. Bedlam Reveler. Sideboard 1 out. That's always going to happen because that's just how the deck should be constructed. Do I want Ritual? Is that a mid-game thing I should even think about? I don't want a lot of these, but some make some sense. Koligon's Command was sick. Thoughtseize fell off, but it was nice early to know what I was working against. And maybe I just won't bring in Ritual. Deck is mostly kind of set up for this. Keep. I am going to start with the Thoughtseize. Opponent mulled to 6. They have a bunch of tricks in their deck. Spell Snare and no ability to cast it. I'm going to take Curiosity. That's the card I'm worried about. If they top deck Island, you got me. Or Blast Zone, whatever. Cori-steel Cutter. Pass. Getting that in under the snare. In the immortal words of Eminem, where's my snare? I am going to plot Highway Robbery and play out Blood Crypt. I'm setting up for next turn. They have no mana right now. Okay, that was a weird keep. A lot of faith in drawing an island very quickly. Okay, Spell Snare is in the deck. That counters most of the biggest section of my mana base, or my curve is 2, but that's okay. On the draw, I think removal's more important and Thoughtseizes are less important, though I do still want to know what's in their hand. Like, I'm not going to bring in more Duresses. Liliana's even clunkier. Yeah, I think these are just the good cards that I have, and I'm going to play them. Okay, I'll keep. I'd very much like an Enabler to show up, but I got some interaction here. Raucous Theater, I get to develop that. I don't want another mountain. The opponent has another island. Didn't make the same mistake again. Thoughtseize plus leave up Fatal Push seems pretty good here. I'm going to Thoughtseize. If they flash in that Flash Bear guy again, okay. It didn't do that, but this leaves me 2 mana to play Cori-steel Cutter plus Fatal Push next turn. Though that does not kill Omen of the Sea. Kroxa, huh? Well, that's actually kind of sweet, because I don't really have a way to force them to do stuff that would trigger my Cori-steel Cutter. I will just attack their hand a little bit instead. Narset gone. That's a sweet card. Okay, another one. Narset. Digging for nothing. Swing and a miss. You love to see it when you're me, not my mean opponent. Raucous Theater. Abrade. I don't think I'm in the Abrade market right now. I'm in the get Kroxa into play market. And I'm going to kill Narset right now while I can. Okay, pass with no play, which means their hand is all spells. I'm going to try the Cori-steel Cutter. This plays around Spell Pierce. I can't beat Spell Snare anyway, but this going into the graveyard is fine. This being in play is even better. Kroxa triggers Cori-steel. Shoshana's Tidebinder. Okay, so Cori-steel Cutter is a brick. For now, Kroxa put Enduring Curiosity in the graveyard. That's a good card to be gone, but that probably means they have more than one. It just seems like the best thing they could do to turn the corner. Blood Crypt. I could play Kroxa here, which gets Spell Snared into the sun. I think what I'm going to do is Shock and Blood Crypt play around Spell Pierce, and I'm going to go for Kolaghan's Command in their upkeep. Or maybe right now. Okay, Nightbonder resolves, Kolaghan's Command, kill Shoshana's Tidebinder, and target player discards a card. And if this works, I get to make a Monk, because I'm also going to Fatal Push the Nightbonder. Right, push Nightbonder, trigger Cori-steel Cutter. I don't mind if it's in the end step as long as it happens. I'm on the board, I'm doing something. They discarded a Brazen Borrower to that Kolaghan's Command, that was real value. Another Cutter. Send it. Fiery Temper, target you. Just doing this all pre-combat, getting paid as much as I can. Tidebinder is way behind the 8 ball at this point. Bang. Attack for a gajillion. Dr. Owner gets to tap one of these. That's fine. Attack. There's still Kroxas kicking out in the graveyard down there. Okay. Bound to draw a card somewhere along the way. Abel versus Kroxa. It's gotta be Kroxa here. It's just such a slick runway to do it. A big Kroxa's in play. With 2 cards in their hand, just developing a 6/6 here seems like the thing I should be doing. Discarded a second Enduring Curiosity. Unfortunately, I don't have the mana to equip Kroxa and immediately hellbend them. The Loot Land is here. 1 card in hand, and it's probably the card that they kept over Enduring Curiosity last turn. Card in hand better than Curiosity is kind of scary. Any 2-drop triggers my Cori-steels and goes nuts here. That's not a 2-drop. I can generate some prowess, though. Trigger, trigger, trigger. And I can move Cori-steel onto Goblin Shaman. It makes my monks worse, but my shaman better. I don't think I want to give Kroxa Trample, because Kroxa's the thing they're incentivized to answer anyway. Bang. Second Curiosity. It's a second powerful creature. They go to 10 from Croak's a trigger. They get to draw a lot of cards next turn. Okay, pass. I probably shouldn't have played that land out because I have a Chapter 2 Fable going. Yeah, that was bad. Okay, they draw 4 cards and put me to 5. Can they tempo me out? Yeah, playing that land was really bad, actually. Rakdos is good for 5. They just said you can't make this up in the chat. I don't know what that means. Did they draw Alrund's Epiphany? Are they going to time walk and win? Or are they going to concede and show me 5 lands in hand? I don't know what that means. Opponent, I don't have access to your hand to know what you're talking about. 5? Oh, wow. I guess it must be Gripful Lands, discarded Spell Snare. Okay. Yep, close one, but they flooded out at the end and I had the pressure on. We've won a match. Let's go on to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the draw for round 4. I'm going to keep. We've got the first 2 lands. I'd like a third. If I can FOMO plus Fiery Temper, that would be sick. Like if I can go turn 2 cori-steel cutter, turn 3 FOMO, Fiery Temper, that's the nuts. I'm getting Thoughtseize, so that's not what's happening. Unless they take my Thoughtseize, then I might still be able to do what I want to do here. This is Orzhov Pathway. Took my Thoughtseize. Okay, so my Dream Curve might still exist. Fatal Push, probably good news. I do need a red source to do everything I want to do, though, over the next 2 turns. Blade of the Oni. I could just kill that, I guess. I could also develop cori-steel cutter and then FOMO plus Fatal Push next turn. Is that greedy? Is that crazy? I mean, it's definitely greedy. I don't know if it's crazy. If they develop Unholy Annex, this is a demon. I'm going to try to live my dream here. Bleachbone Verge. Blade of the Oni has a funny history in Pioneer because it was playable in early mono-black aggro lists, which quickly became not a thing anymore in Pioneer. But now that Unholy Annex is a thing, it's suddenly reasonable again because it's a demon. All right, I'll cast the 2 removal spells I've drawn since the last time they saw my hand. Take control of the board and cori-steel, and my next red source still does the FOMO thing. Hey, there's the Annex. Hopefully they're under enough pressure that it's not good anymore. Highway Robbery. Ooh. Ooh. That's so close to being what I want to be doing. Okay, I am going to live this dream. Plot Highway Robbery, take an investment turn, and I have the cori-steel in play and one in my hand. I can just plot away the Fiery Temper if I don't draw the red source first, though I hope I do. Mutavault qualifies as a demon. Sheoldred, not a demon, but is really big, and I just plotted a draw 2. Not ideal. Okay, that's actually great. How do I leverage it? Play Soken's on, play cori-steel cutter. I lose 2 when I draw, and their life total is more important than mine. I'm going to play cori-steel cutter, get the prowess trigger. I'm going to play Highway Robbery, triggering all my various things, and then I have to do math. I don't have to do math till I see my hand. Okay, I'm going to discard Fiery Temper, and I drew another Fiery Temper. So when I cast this, this will be 4/4, 3/3/3/3. I think I have to point the Temper at Sheoldred. This disincentivizes blocking, and most of my creatures have trample. They get to gain a bunch of life next turn. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They can deal 8 to me on board as well. Oh yeah, give up the Shieldred. That's so nice. No, no, don't back off. Shit. All right. Yeah, I really wanted that Shieldred to go. Yeah, unfortunately, the card draw part of my deck chose to kick in at the point where my opponent has Shieldred in play. And Mutavault is a demon, which means they're going to be at 8 life at the end of this turn. They are going for the kill here. Can they deal 3 somehow? Okay, those are all positive life. 8, so they're actually at 12. Can I beat that? Oh no, because I also get fucking drained. Never mind. All right, well, shit. Fucking Shieldred, man. Okay. All right. Missing that red drop or that red land for that one turn actually was everything, because if I do exactly that game that I just played one turn earlier, they're extremely dead. I think I like Liliana. I'm not making a lot of changes here. I think I'm set up for the matchup, and really it's just like, do they have Shieldred or not in the spot where it matters most? I don't think I'm trying to Extinction Event them. Abrade is another answer to Mutavault, but go for the Throat, Thoughtseize, Burst Lightning, and Fiery Temper all do that already. Okay, yeah, I'm just going to bring in one more answer to Shieldred and run it. Yeah, I forgot I also lose life in the end step. That second Annex was perfect. Even at 1 life instead of -1, I think I have a reasonable shot there. Okay, keep. I like what's going on here. Vents pass. I have to imagine I'm going to get Thoughtseized. Yep, there it is. They probably want cori-steel cutter, would be my guess. That is the glue here, though I do have the draw 3 on Highway Robbery, which draws 2 and casts Fiery Temper. Oh, taking Robbery instead. All right. I'm into that. I'll develop the cutter, and just looking for another way to loot, and this Fiery Temper's online. High noon. Okay, well, I will not be beating that ever. Fiery Temper, how many of these do I want? I'm going to put that in the graveyard where it at least feeds my Bedlam Reveler. I can still equip cori-steel cutter the hard way, and there might be some world where I can burn them out. Gifted Aetherborn. I'm going to target that with Fiery Temper, is my plan. Blood Crypt tapped. Shoot the Aetherborn. There are 3 spells in my graveyard. Another Aetherborn. Okay. That card's really good, so I will cast it. This lets Aetherborn in at least once, but they might want it on defense. We'll see. If they have Fatal Push, it just doesn't matter. Okay. So Aetherborn's gonna get to do its thing, but I get to throw a lot of cards around this turn. The Bedlam Reveler endgame could be where I need to be. Okay, this thing is not a demon. Draw for turn. I am going to use this ability. I'm going to discard Highway Robbery and Takenuma. Thoughtseize and Fiery Temper. Reveler costs 4 right now. I could put it into play. I don't think I'm going to. I'll go for the Thoughtseize and build up for Reveler next turn. Double Shieldred over there. I can beat one of them. Alright, I'll take one of the Shieldreds. Let's just get ahead of that shit. I have 2 removal spells and a Shieldred. I will kill this thing. Getting into the Reveler endgame here. Mutavault, so Shieldred can be played here. I basically have to kill that. And I'm going to do it right now before I draw a card or even do anything. And equip, attack for 3. It's not the turn I wanted to have, but that's 2 Shieldreds down. They have multiple instant speed removal spells. Okay, Preacher. That's not the worst. Okay, Bedlam Reveler. Discard. Can't use these. Play my land. And I could equip. I think I'm going to. Equip cori-steel cutter and attack. Doing damage over the top of their engines is what I have to do right now. That's not a spell. So they get to make a 1/1. I'll copy Bedlam Reveler, and they're gonna kill it, but at least I have to make a move here, because they got me no matter when I do that. Yeah, I was really hoping to discard Kroxa in the end step and then blast them with it this turn. Reflection copies non-legendary creatures, so I can't Kroxa them. Kroxa, discarded High Noon, play out my land, and I could animate Restless Verge and attack. I could animate Restless Verge and block. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's all terrible. Man, High Noon got my ass. I guess all I can do here really is pass. I think having the creature land activation available is better than equipping Reflection when I know they could answer it. Okay, they draw a card, lose a life. I'm just going to take damage from this. There's their spell for the turn. End step, I'm going to do kind of a fun trick where I animate my creature land, copy my creature land, and I get a token copy of it that's not animated for next turn. This is +1 mana for whatever that matters. 1 turn boost. They'll build your own Lotus Petal. A Swamp, Kroxa, black, black, red, red. At 16 life, this is not going to be nearly enough. The Unholy Annex is too powerful to overcome as a fair deck if I'm not casting 2 spells in a turn, which I'm not because of High Noon. Alright, you got me. GG's. Crushed by the sideboard tech. On to the final round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in the final round versus one of the opponents who I have already played in this league, which makes sense because it turns out Pioneer is not well supported. And what that manifests as practically is 17 people in this league. There are 17 active Pioneer players on Magic Online right now, or enrolled in the league. That doesn't mean they're online right now. It took me like 15 minutes to queue into this same person again. I dumped the second Thoughtseize because I'm really just looking for lands here, and I'm going to Thoughtseize them because if they flash their 2-drop out underneath, this is the blue Devotion Flash player again. Okay, yeah, if they flashed something out underneath, I could Fatal Push it. I think I would like Enduring Curiosity gone. That's the way they're actually going to turn the corner on me. That Spell Snare is not exactly ideal, given that cori-steel cutter is my plan, but I can come up with a different plan. Kroxa straight into the graveyard. Entomb, Abandoned Legacy, Legal and Pioneer. Okay, there is a creature that does not die to Fatal Push, and it does give 2 Devotion for Nykthos. Pretty good combo. A Fiery Temper. I don't think I'm interested in that. I think what I'm going to do is upkeep Kolaghan's Command. Target player discards and kill a Brazen Borrower. This gets around the three of the 4 cards that I know in their hand. And if the 4th card is useful, good job. If it's not, then this also turns off a bunch of blue mana out of Nykthos. Fear of Missing Out. Unfortunately, that gets Spell Snared, and I'm trying for that to not happen. Spell Pierce, okay. That must have been their draw last turn, or else I think they would have pierced that Kolaghan's Command. Between cori-steel cutter and Fear of Missing Out, what would I rather have in the graveyard? And if I flush out the Spell Snare, I think I'd rather have Fear of Missing Out countered. And if they don't counter it, I get to cash out the Fiery Temper immediately, and I get to hit a land drop right now. Nice. Discard Fiery Temper. I would like to use this. Upstairs, I get to hit my land drop. All right, that worked out great. They're over there respecting the hell out of this cori-steel cutter, or just being using the resources they have in the way that they deem most efficient. They could shuffle away my FOMO here, or they could game on. Seems they want to game on. I also want to game on. Oh, there's Kroxa in the graveyard. They might be saving Spell Snare for that, but they can't ignore a cori-steel cutter. Okay, I'm going to force the action here. Tough choice. Ooh, what's happening? 3 steps ahead. They were, in fact, 3 steps ahead of me. I'm still going to kill their Drowner and pass on an open board here. Played an island. I do have Delirium. If I want to just go to combat here, I'm allowed to do that. I could fire up the creature land. I think I like that. Creature land, wake up. This lets me do a bunch of looting. Attack with all creatures. FOMO, untap the land. I'm going to loot away Go for the Throat because it's the most expensive card in my hand. Ooh, here we go. We just found a combo. Enduring Curiosity. Okay. Maybe I don't have a combo. We'll see. Depends on what they block. Okay, nice. They went the wrong way on that, or the right way for me. Okay, I can Fatal Push now, or I can go to second combat and try to rip off Fiery Temper. That's so sick if it works. All right, I'm going to do that. Attack. Loot away Fiery Temper. Please don't have Spell Pierce. Roast that one. Yeah, okay. They get the enchantment side back, but that was a pretty nice exchange. Good combat. Good stuff. Having fun. The problem with my handful of removal is that it's just quite good against their deck, and I don't want to revel it away. Yeah, I think I'm just going to pass here, and then Burst Lightning and Kolaghan's Command in the end step. Hopefully we can get a fight over some kind of creature here. Wan Shitong. Okay, so that one resolves. This is all a trigger. This gives me an excuse to Fatal Push, so I will do that now. They do get to draw 2 cards, but the creature doesn't go nuts. End of turn, Kolaghan's Command. You discard, and I want my Fear of Missing Out back. Or do I want Kroxa back? Just beat the hell out of that hand. I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, I get back Kroxa, you discard a card. Kroxa makes you discard another card. And now that I have this going on, I don't think I'm interested in ripping off the Burst Lightning. Kroxa, using the Spell Snare on the front is interesting. They could have just discarded Spell Snare to that, and it's the same thing. Why would they do it like that? When this disc attacks, you may discard a card if you do draw a card, so I don't have to. I'm going to shock in Blood Crypt and attack with my 2/3 Menace, and I'm not going to loot a card. I want Burst Lightning up. Just wiggling this game into the spot where Bedlam Reveler is useful. Cunning Night Bonder. I'm going to Burst Lightning in their upkeep rather than in my end step, so if they have more stuff, they have to do it now, rather than in my end step for freeze. And can I get a Top Rope Bedlam Reveler going nuts here? It is my turn. I'm going to play the Swamp and just rip off the 2-mana Bedlam Reveler from Hellbent, the old Ancestral Recall boy. And I can still Kroxa this turn. Cori-steel Cutter. Not into that right now. I could play it and equip it, I guess, but I'm more likely to double spell next turn. Okay, Fear of Missing Out, Cori-steel Cutter, Fable, and everything else is spells. I did not have the second Spell Snare that I thought they would there. And ended up discarding a card that was Enduring Curiosity. The card that they kept in their hand is better than Enduring Curiosity. Hullbreaker Horror, what's up? Alright, I can see it. That's an exciting top end to have in the main deck. 7/8. If they cast any spell, I get blown out in combat. If I don't block, they get to draw a card, which makes it worse. In worst case scenario, I can just replay Kroxa, and I have the Cori-steel Cutter to run with it. Petty Theft, this bounces both my creatures, if they want to. They could also bounce Enduring Curiosity to their hand, or this is opponent's, nope, it's anything. Yep. Yeah, the old CEDH combo. Okay, that happened. That was an exciting card. Exciting development. My opponent's hand is Enduring Curiosity. And we know it. Another Takenuma. Okay, 1/2, 1/2, 1/3, 4. All right. I get to play Cori-steel Cutter, then Kroxa, which triggers Cutter, and then the other side of Kroxa. And this is not quite going to be good enough because they have multiple spells and enough damage to finish me off. Wow, that's so sick. I'm 1 mana short of killing them here. Or not killing them, but 7/11. They have exactly enough mana. Choose up to 1. Return target non-land permanent. Okay, so I can block Hullbreaker Horror with my Vents. Yeah, 1 mana short of equipping the Kroxa right now. I have to chump with Vents and then try to make something happen on the next turn, but this Brazen Borrower is another removal spell for free. A block. Opponent gets to draw a card. I'm at 7. Played out the Island. Fiery Temper. Is that going to help? I'll play a Takenuma. Play Kroxa. Oh no, did you draw an actual, good card? Wan Shitong in response. Gross. Return target spell. Wow, yeah, that does that too, doesn't it? Sure does. Okay. Opponent is currently at 8. Wan Shi-Tong's going to draw one card, and Brazen Borrower's still there. Yeah, this Hullbreaker Horror is basically a hard lock, which it should be in the card. If you're going to spend 7 mana on a card, it should win the game. That was an awesome comeback. I thought I had this game for sure. Okay, I will evoke Kroxa, which they don't have to respond to, but they can. Discarding a land there's pretty smart. Okay. Yeah, nothing to be done here. Sick. GG. A Liliana in, a Bedlam Reveler out, a Braid I'm pretty interested in. I did have Dreadbores and Go for the Throats in the deck, so it wasn't like that card's unbeatable. I just was not in a position to beat it when it showed up. Yeah, maybe I'm not interested in Liliana after all. Though Liliana might be better than a Braid. I have a lot of removal already and making their hand worse, so they can't get to a critical mass. Like if Liliana pluses and they discard a land to protect Hullbreaker Horror, that land might be necessary to cast the Horror later. Okay, here we go. Settling back in. Urge, go. Handful of removal. This land, go. I hope they flash in some dope that I can Gulagon's Command. Nice. Gulagon's Command. Discard. Hit this. Just wanted to spend my mana somehow there. Discarded Spell Pierce. Blast Zone. Thoughtseize. Cool. Alright. That's one of the better cards. Better non-lands I could draw there. It doesn't get snared or pierced. Alright, Wan Shi-Tong, 3 steps, and some other shit. I think Wan Shi-Tong is the card I'm worried about here. I just don't want them reloading. They can use 3 steps to loot. Okay, there you go. Discarded Hullbreaker Horror. We did it. We beat it. We played around it. I do need to hit some land drops to get where I want to go. Ooh. Castle Locthwain, I think, is the highest conversion rate of is included in decks that people send me versus doesn't get activated or kills me because it comes into play tapped. This card is just pretty sus a lot of the time. I'm not going to pay 6 to draw a card here. Fable. Well, that will draw out the counter spell, but at what cost? I think I'm going to wait till I draw a Thoughtseize or they get antsy. Or if I draw a worse card that they might also counter. Omen of the Sea. And that at least turns off the loot on 3 steps. And if they want to counterspell it is a Fable. Tishana's Tidebinder lines up okay against that thing, but this is a nice one to deploy otherwise. Get the Fiery Temper value. Are they going to Tidebind this? Indeed they are. Okay, that is countered. And go for the Throat immediately on this thing. I'm saving my efficient spells and things that can go face for turns where they have mana up or where their face is exposed. Blazemire Verge. I think I'll simply attack for 2. Enduring Curiosity. That has a Throat. But yeah, alright. I'll go for its Throat. I was thinking whether I want to save Go for the Throat for something bigger, like a Hullbreaker Horror, but using my mana in this way lets me also go for this Fable right now while they're tapped low. And that's also why I saved my land drop for a second main. Nice Spell Pierce. Okay. A tight one. They have that Blast Zone over there. I have 3 card types in my graveyard, and Instant is one of them. So that's not doing a lot for me here. Attack. 2 damage through. Hell yeah. Play out Blood Crypt. We're getting to the point where Castle Locthwain and Bedlam Reveler both might start doing something. Fiery Temper this. Okay, if a creature ever hits me, I'm dead immediately. Gonna try for that to not happen. That Brazen Borrower over there. They're still a mana short of doing everything they want to do. I will try to flush out this counter spell here. Not interested. Okay, so they're more interested in trying to get this Brazen Borrower going. They could Petty Theft the token plus play the 3/1. That's a pretty good turn. But I do get to clip it. And now Castle Locthwain and Bedlam Reveler get to Revel and Thwain, respectively. Another Burst Lightning. I could just loot that away, or I could play it and then move on. Yeah, I am not going to use this ability at all. I am going to attack. Reveler already costs 2, so I'll just send it. They don't want to fight over that. Do I want to Burst Lightning or do I want more mana up later? I think I want more mana up. I don't think that 2 damage is going to change my life. Oh yeah, look at this. Found a spot to put 2 damage. I still don't get to draw cards, but I have donked their dummy. They could counter this if they want to keep their dummy. Right, nope. I just have a 4/5 that does have abilities. Oh no! Here we go. All right, now I'm in big ass trouble. These Enduring Curiosities held them off for a while. Now I'm in the hole. If I hold the Burst Lightning, this play doesn't work, but if they have any bounce or removal spell, it's better to fight them there than it is now. I think I have to Thwain. All right, finally, Castle Lock Thwain. This is the first successful activation of this card in, I think, 5 years on my channel. And successful is generous for what just happened. But I did draw a card. The opponent's at 7. A creature I can block, though I won't. Omen of the Seas. All right, they're doing what they want to do now. I got to get these last 7 points going before this draw 25 pays out. Top the Omen of the Sea. Yikes. Okay. Oh, Nykthos. Yep. Infinite mana. I think I should let these things hit me, even though it's worth 2 cards, because this Reflection of Kiki-Jiki really is my only way back into this game. I'm at 7. Opponent has 8 cards in hand. Omen. And with this Nykthos, that's 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 mana. I suspect they'll be able to do stuff. Cori-steel Cutter. Okay, I'm going to cast that first and see if we're getting into a fight over it. They made 13 mana in response. Spell Snare. Okay. I'm going to move to combat and see what they want to do with their other 12 mana. Oh my goodness, a card I've never seen. Flash Ward Waterbend. Whenever an opponent draws their second card each turn, you draw 2 cards. Oh, the ward is Waterbend. Okay, I see. All right. Whenever your opponent draws their second card each turn, you draw 2 cards. Well, cards are not the resource I'm beating them on, so I'm just going to move to combat and hope Bedlam Reveler can convert Wan Shi Tong for 9. Holy moly. Okay, well, I guess it's time to copy Bedlam Reveler and lose to any bounce spell. That'll do. GG. Sick. Whoa. We did not see that gear of the deck when we played them last. Okay, so here we are. Lessons learned from this league that I hope help Varus 22 in further exploration of the archetype. Bedlam Reveler, it's chunky. It's it both is hard to set up and doesn't necessarily pull you ahead or win the game when it hits. That's kind of 2 strikes against it. If you want to do this, I would get a lot lower to the ground, like way more highway robbery stuff, and less of really any of the mid-range. This might just become a glorified burn deck, which is not what Mardu Pyromancer is, what the inspiration is. Cori-steel Cutter and Bedlam Reveler do kind of ask you to do similar things, and both get paid out by the cards like Highway Robbery. Though, as we saw in both our match against Izzet and our match against Orzhov, where they had potent sideboard cards, the best deck in the format is a Cori-steel Cutter Prowess deck. So people are ready for this, and if we are a slower version of the deck that's already really good and people are ready for, that's just going to be a tough meta spot to be in. The discard parts of it were cool. Like when Fiery Temper actually popped off, which happened a few times, it felt amazing. Discarding Kroxa for free, building that engine later, that felt really good. If you're willing to swallow your pride on playing Spider-Man cards, that opens up like 15 or 20 playables that could be considered for expanding out the Madness Mayhem part of the deck. And the Madness Mayhem stuff is the stuff that's really good at triggering Cori-steel Cutter, which is our Pyromancer, which ode to Pyromancer. This is the name of the deck, the namesake of the deck right now. Fear of Missing Out didn't really hang. It's mostly there as a discard outlet that impacts the board at all. But in the interest of serving Bedlam Reveler and Cori-steel Cutter and future Madness Mayhem mechanical stuff, I think it should be more highway robberies. I'm going to leave this one here. Varus22, thanks for sending it in. I hope this inspiration gets you closer to your goal. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon to support the channel. I'll see you next time.